What's up everyone, how's it going? Simon here from CD Revival once again with another CD ranking for you. Hope you're all well. Today I'm going to do the ranking of the Dio studio albums, so that's the solo Dio albums. Obviously we all know Ronnie James Dio, probably one of the finest vocalists from rock metal of all time. I think we can all agree on that. I personally prefer the stuff that he did with like Sabbath and Rainbow. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn if I say that, you know, his solo stuff can be a little bit patchy, not always the strongest. None of them are bad albums, but yeah, definitely some better than others. Yeah, with some fairly mixed results really on the albums, but say all of them are, have their merits. All of them are good. There's none of them I dislike. So we'll start off at 10 studio albums that he did with the Dio band, and I'm going to start off number 10 with 1996's Angry Machines. This was his 7th studio album in total. Using my scientific rating, it gets a 3.5, and yeah, not really too much to say about this one. It's a little bit drab. It's yeah, it's not awful, but there's nothing that really like stands out that's like, oh yeah, that's an amazing track, and there's nothing that's like, oh yeah, that's terrible. It's just kind of fairly drab really. It's yeah, not his best at all. Tracy G on guitar, Jeff Pilson on bass, Vinny Appice on drums, does a lot of the co-writing on this one, Scott Warren on keyboards. Probably the key tracks are Stay Out of My Mind and Big Sister. They're probably the best ones on here. I say there's nothing amazing about it. Pretty terrible cover as well, but yeah, not a fantastic album. But yeah, and that's number 10, bottom of my ranking. Angry Machines from 1996, and that's his 7th album in total. Number 9, I've got this one here, Magicka. A bit more of a classic, return to his classic sound, I think a lot of people said. And yeah, it's just, it's a fantastical tale, etc, etc. Nothing bad about it apart from the last track, which is the story of Magicka, which is like literally nearly 20 minutes long, where he basically tells the story of the album, and you hear it once if you can get through it once, and you'll never ever listen to that again. But yeah, it's okay. So it came out in 2000. It's his 8th studio album. Craig Goldie on guitar for this one, Jimmy Bain back on bass, Simon Wright on drums, who was had drummed for AC/DC previously. Scores a 3.54 on my scientific ranking, and yeah, it's it's okay. So it's not bad at all. Aerial's probably the best track on it. Lord of the Last Day's a good one. Losing My Insanity is not too bad. It's a bit of a Maiden-esque sort of gallop. Quite reminiscent of them, but yeah, not awful, but yeah, definitely kind of the story's a load of old bollocks really, if I'm being honest. But yeah, not a bad album. But that's my number 9, Magicka from 2000. My number 8 is this one here, Killing the Dragon from 2002. 9th studio album. This one scores a 3.6. A lot of people really rate this album. I think it's alright. I think once again it's nothing amazing about it. There's a few good tracks on there. This one's got Doug Aldrich on guitar. He's previously played in House of Lords, I think, Whitesnake as well. Jimmy Bain on bass, Simon Wright once again on drums. Title track's probably one of the best ones. Scream's a really good one as well. Rock and Roll's actually quite a decent track. So yeah, as I say, not an offensive album, decent enough. Just not amazing. Good cover on this one though. Classic heavy metal cover. But yeah, so a 3.6 it scores for me, and that's 2002's Killing the Dragon at number 8. Number 7, I've got this one here, Dream Evil. Now a lot of people really rate this and go, oh, it's such an underrated album. Is it though? It's it's a decent enough album. This was the first album they did after Vivian Campbell left, and Craig Goldie joined on guitar, so I think they definitely missed that. Came out in 1987. It's his 4th studio album. I scored this on 3.61, so slightly higher than Killing the Dragon. So yeah, Craig Goldie on guitar, Jimmy Bain still on bass, Vinny Appice still on drums, and Claude Schnell on the keyboards. The title track, Dream Evil's good. Sunset Superman's a decent track. All the Fools Sailed Away. I think the best track on here for me is Naked in the Rain. I think that's a really good one actually. But yeah, a lot of people like it and think it's, you know, an underrated gem, etc. And if that's you, then good for you, man. But so I don't think it's a bad album, but I think it's definitely number 7 on my ranking. And that's Dream Evil from 1987, 4th studio album. Good cover. Last one to feature Murray. Not Murray, Murray's the dragon, but whoever this guy's called. But yeah, not bad. Number 6, I have got Lock Up the Wolves. A bit of a different sound, this one. I do enjoy this album actually quite a bit. Well, the tracks on it that are good. I think it's a little bit hit and miss. I think Wild One's really good. Born on the Sun's decent as well. Evil on Queen Street is a good track. The title track, Lock Up the Wolves, is an absolute classic for me. It's one of the best tracks that Dio's ever done. It's got Rowan Robertson on guitar, so a young guitarist who he recruited, who, you know, it's got really quite a nice sound on this one actually. It's quite a sort of full bluesy sort of sound actually. We've got Terry Cook on bass, Simon Wright on drums, and Jens Johansson does keyboards. But yeah, they're the best tracks on there, the ones that I've mentioned. Yeah, so the title track is well worth the price of admission alone. Cover, a little bit moody, not really sure what wolves look like that, but I'm assuming ones that need to be locked up. But yeah, good album, enjoyable. I do like that album quite a bit actually. So it's a little bit patchy. The ones that aren't so good, but the ones that are good are very good. Next one, number 5, I've got his last studio album, the 10th one. That's Master of the Moon. This one scores a 3.7. Lock Up the Wolves was a 3.63. Sorry if I forgot to mention that. Yeah, this one's a 3.7. This one came out in 2004. And not a bad album to sign off. Ooh, there we go with that again. Classic picture of Dio there with the horns. But yeah, an enjoyable album to finish off with for him. One More for the Road is a good one. Master of the Moon is a good one. What else have we got on here? The title track, yeah, good one. The Eyes is my favourite track on here. That's a really cool track actually. Sinister kind of riff, and it's got stuff going on. Craig Goldie on guitar, Jeff Pilson on bass, Simon Wright on drums, Scott Warren on the keys. But yeah, the last solo album from Dio. I think all he did after this was the Heaven and Hell one with the Sabbath guys, which was also really cool. And then sadly passed not long after that. But yeah, excellent album. Bit of a return to form before, for his last album. So 2004's Master of the Moon. That's my number 5. Number 4, I have got this one, which is his second album, The Last in Line. This one scores a 3.72. Thought this might be higher, to be honest with you, but obviously I've revisited all the albums before doing the ranking, and yeah, the title track's amazing. It's probably one of his best tracks ever. We Rock's a good one to start with. I Speed at Night's decent. Egypt, The Chains Are On's probably one of the best ones on there as well. They're the standouts. The rest of it's all a little bit filler as far as I'm concerned. The classic lineup: Vivian Campbell on guitars, Jimmy Bain on bass, Vinny Appice on drums, Claude Schnell on keyboards. A decent album, but yeah, it didn't rate as highly as I thought it might do before I started to revisit all the albums, to be honest with you. But that's 1984, it's The Last in Line, second studio album. That's my number 4. My third favourite one is this one, Strange Highways from 1994. It's his 6th studio album. This one scores a 3.77. And this one's a really heavy album. This one is punishing, to be honest with you. This is what he did when he did Dehumanizer with Sabbath. got the arsehole with them, and then came back and put this one out. And yeah, it's heavy. This is 100% his heaviest album. Terrible cover once again, but you know, whatever. But yeah, 1994, 6-studio album. Tracy G on guitar, Jeff Pilson on bass, Vinny Appice on drums. Jesus, Mary and the Holy Ghost, first track's like a real heavy one. Firehead, really good. Strange Highways, Hollywood Black, Evolution, Pain's really good. Give It a Gun, they're all like really heavy, good tracks. So yeah, if you've not checked this one out and you know you want a heavy sounding Dio, this one is definitely the one to go for. It's, you know, 100% the heaviest album he's done, and is yeah, it's a complete banger really. It's a punishing album. So Strange Highways, number 3 from 1994, 6th studio album in total. My number 3. My number 2, which is an album which gets quite a lot of heat from people. They don't like it so much. They say it's like really like sell out and blah blah blah. But Sacred Heart from 1985, his 3rd studio album. I scored it a 3.83. The classic lineup once again: Vivian Campbell, Jimmy Bain, Vinny Appice, Claude Schnell. And yeah, this I really love this album, man. Say rightly my number 2. Because it's like it's just catchy. Like all the tracks are nice, singable. King of Rock and Roll to start off with, which has got its sort of full sort of live intro to it. Sacred Heart, the title track, is an excellent one. Usually its title tracks are, you know, some of the best on there. Another Lie's really good. Rock and Roll Children, really good. Hungry for Heaven is super catchy, and you know, it's just a great track. Like the Beat of a Heart is excellent. It's only the last sort of couple, Just Another Day and Fallen Angels, which aren't the best. Shoot Shoot I do enjoy as well. This has got Murray the Dragon on the front. The tour that he did at the time was, you know, super extravagant, with the big fire-breathing dragon with the lasers shooting out of his eyes. But yeah, an excellent album. 3.83 I score this one, and it's a really good, superb. And just the songs are good. A lot of Dio albums, I think they're, you know, there's nothing wrong with them, but they don't really catch you. They don't, you know, there's no super sing-along bits. It's just kind of, you know, yeah, it's decent heavy metal. Whereas this one, super catchy songs, good production. Yeah, the keyboards are a little bit overbearing sometimes, but you know, that's just the way it is. It's a, you know, a solid album. So yeah, that's my number 2 from 1985, Sacred Heart. Number 1, predictably, his first album, Holy Diver from 1983, with the classic lineup of Campbell, Bain and Appice. This one's far and above like my highest scoring one, which scores a 4.11. And yeah, with good reason. Every song's a banger. You know, most of the tracks. Stand Up and Shout, obviously, to start off with, is a killer. Holy Diver, classic track. Gypsy, fantastic. Caught in the Middle, Don't Talk to Strangers, Straight Through the Heart. Another one of my favourite ones is Invisible. Really love that one. You got Rainbow in the Dark and Shame on the Night at the end. Just a classic album cover. Yeah, rightly so, the number 1. You can pretty much disagree with the order of the rest of them, I think, but if you start saying that this isn't the best one, then well, you know, you're wrong at the end of the day. Sorry about that. So yeah, Holy Diver, number 1, easily number 1. There can be no arguments on that as far as I'm concerned. That's from 1983, as I say, first studio album after Leaving Sabbath, and he came out, he had a great band, and put out, you know, his best album. Also in the Dio collection, I've also got this one, which is Dio The Collection, which is the greatest hits. So I've also got that, picked that up from a car boot. I think it's a charity shop actually, for £1. And yeah, it's got all the greatest hits on there. So Holy Diver, Don't Talk to Strangers, Rainbow in the Dark, a couple of live tracks, Stand Up and Shout, Straight Through the Heart. It's got We Rock on it. Live version of Last in Line, Speed at Night, Hungry for Heaven, King of Rock and Roll, live Sacred Heart. Wild One as well is on there, and Jesus, Mary and the Holy Ghost from Strange Highways. So yeah, good collection, worth having if you see it for cheap and you haven't got any other Dio albums. This is a good starting point if you want to, you know, see what he's all about. I thought I might do maybe a top 10 Ronnie James Dio like vocal albums, so that would be including the stuff that he did with Sabbath, and the albums he did with Rainbow and Heaven and Hell. So if that's something you're interested in seeing, let me know in the comments below. Yeah, that's my Dio ranking. Hope you liked it. Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel, help the channel grow, and yeah, press the bell icon so you can tell when I've got new videos coming out, which is usually sort of 2-3 times a week now. I'm starting to put a little bit more, you know, creative effort into them as well, and do proper rankings as well. So yeah, thanks once again. You all take it steady. Cheers.